Hey team, Patrick here. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you the keys to hitting with more consistency on your ground strokes. Consistency is a fundamental of tennis, and we need to master this to become a better player and increase our level. Then we can look to add more weapons to our game and be more aggressive, but we need this base level of consistency first. So let's get into it. The first mistake I want to look at that you could be making is hitting the ball in the net. For me, this is the worst mistake you could make, and most players aim too close to the net. Instead, pick out a higher, what we call air target, and aim twice the height of the net. This will encourage you to get the racket below the ball and give you the vertical element to the swing, where you're brushing up the back of the ball, you're lifting the ball over the net with the way you swing, and that's also where your top spin comes in. So it's low to high with a square, a neutral angle of the racket face at contact that gives me that net clearance and top spin, that curve down on the other side. And if you're still hitting the ball in the net, then you can simply slightly open the angle of the racket face. If you're aiming twice the height of the net and you're missing long, then you've got it. You can close the angle of the racket face. And the more upwards you're swinging and the faster you're swinging, the more you can close the angle of the racket face. Now I'm using my technique to spin the ball and play with margin for error, and that's how I achieve this consistency. I would recommend an Eastern or semi-Western grip on your forehand, and I will do a full video on grips coming up on the channel shortly. You could also use a Western grip if this is the grip you've been using since starting tennis, but if you're using something closer to a continental grip, for example, this is going to make it more difficult to create that top spin. You're going to have an open racket face and struggle to come over the ball, and you may get these shots that fly long. Linked to this margin for error, if you're missing wide, make sure you're not aiming for the lines. Aim a few feet inside the lines, so to a bigger target, and commit to that target. Don't change your mind. If I miss my forehand wide to the left, for example, then my contact was too far in front of my body, so my strings are facing off in that direction. And if I miss wide, going for a down the line ball, then I was too late with my timing, my contact was too far behind. This is why it's important to play the percentages and go cross court more of the time, where the net is lower in the middle and the court is longer. And then you can go down the line when you have that time or space or a short ball to step in and attack. Now I know I said we want this upward swing, but if I swing completely straight up, this is going to produce a very thin contact on the ball. I may shank the ball and the ball might go short. So generally we want a combination of swinging both up and out towards our target. It's more of this diagonal path where I still get this depth and penetration through the court. I have what we call this long contact zone, this area through the ball where my strings are facing towards my target. That's so important. We want to find a consistent strike zone between our waist and our shoulder, and that comes down to ball recognition and good footwork. If your ball recognition is poor, you won't be picking up on these ball characteristics, the height, the depth, the direction, the speed, and the spin, and then you'll be out of position. There's no real shortcut to improving this. We just need to see more shots. So try and play against as many different types of players as possible and build up this database, as the pros are not only reading the ball off their opponent's racket, but the body language of their opponent. If you don't have good footwork, you might hit the ball great when the ball's in your strike zone, but you can't use that technique if you're always reaching for the ball. So make sure you're off your heels, on the balls of your feet, and you have this bounce to your movement and split step. Use the legs to properly load in a open or semi-open stance at the baseline, or the neutral stance if you're stepping into the ball. And finally, you want to find that speed that you can hit at without missing too much. Now, this is relative to your current skill level, but if you're making a ton of mistakes, you might just be trying to hit the ball too hard. We don't always want to be going for 100%, but more like 60 to 70% of our max speed if we're in that neutral rally situation within the point. Right team, this is really important, as particularly at the recreational level, tennis is often a game of who can avoid errors rather than who can hit more winners. So I hope this video has helped. If it has, please leave it a like and comment down below and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on court in the next one. Cheers guys.